Hey, welcome to another episode of the Yasin Schools podcast. My name is Chris Jacob. I'm an alumni from 2017. And with me, I've got Rhys Bunting and Mr. Brett Bunting. Would you be so kind to introduce yourselves?
Brett Bunting. I am the father of Rhys and his younger brother Finley. We moved to Dubai end of 2020, early 21, and have had the benefit of participating in the F1 in Schools program.
I'm Rhys Bunting, an alumni for F1 in Schools, an ex-competitor. I was a World Finalist for the F1 in Schools World Finals in 2023, and now I'm coming back to present the 2025 F1 in Schools UAE National Finals.
That is awesome. So it's actually probably one of the first times that we've had a parent here with us, and that is actually incredible because we get to hear both sides, right? We get to hear the side of the student working tirelessly, and we get to hear the side of the parent looking at the student working tirelessly and going like, wow. Okay, so before we start, you said that you'd come to Dubai in 2021, so that's fairly recent, right?
Yes.
And you actually participated in the 2022 Nationals and the 23 Finals, right?
Yeah.
And so that means as soon as you came to Dubai, you jumped headfirst into Yasin Schools, into F1 in Schools.
Yeah.
So what was that like? From a parent perspective, what was that like?
It was, we can't forget that when we arrived in Dubai, we were still in the throes of COVID. Integrating into Dubai was always going to be a challenge,
right.
With all the restrictions in place. Our boys ended up at a great school. And this was one of the programs that was being run. It was new to us. We hadn't seen it or come across it before in our time in the UK. But it was an opportunity for him to meet other kids at the school, form some new friendships. So from our perspective, it was a great opportunity for him at the time.
That's awesome. What about you?
It was. I feel like it was a great way for me to make new friends, and I mean, obviously, moving to Dubai, we didn't know many people here, so making friends is hard anyway. But like
right.
making friends in a team and then having to be able to work collaboratively and effectively together is like another level. Mm-hmm. But everyone was so kind, easy to talk to, easy to work with. So I think that it actually helped me foster like these relationships with my friends.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So if my understanding is right, you joined a team that were already competed in Formula Ethara and
Yes.
were gearing up for F1 in Schools. Right?
Yeah.
So there was already a team dynamic in play.
Yeah.
Right? And you were about 11 years old?
11, 12.
11, 12 years old, right? So you had to integrate with this new team, you know, again, right off the bat, with being new to Dubai, new to the school, new with friends. How was that like to actually get into this existing team? Do you have any challenges you faced? Anything that the competition really helped smooth out?
It was definitely a challenge trying to integrate into this new team. But obviously, as everyone knows, F1 in Schools is more challenging than Formula Ethara.
Right.
So the Formula Ethara team only had 3 members, but for the F1 in Schools competition, they were looking for 5. Mm-hmm. So there was already 2 spots open. So I wasn't going to be the only new person. Okay. But obviously, because they'd already worked together in the Formula Ethara competition, there was already a team dynamic between the 3 of them, which obviously was like a challenge for me. But because the competition is so intense, it's very like, it's beneficial, but it like requires a lot of work to be put in. I feel like the amount of work that we had to do together helped smooth out any bumps, and it fostered the relationships because we were constantly together, working together to achieve a common goal.
You had to work together.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Now, from a parent perspective, what did it look like preparing for that national finals? I think that's sort of the big step, right before World Finals. We'll get to that. Yeah. But national finals, what did that look like?
The relatively low demands from a parent perspective, I think. They were in a school structure which was naturally set up to support them and foster them. So there wasn't a lot of demands on our time. We just got to hear about all the fun they were having when they came home from school.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
So it was all fun and games, a little bit of seriousness, a little bit of intensity, like you just said.
Yeah.
So what did you feel like when you actually won the competition?
I remember watching the awards ceremony a week or so after the competition with all of my teammates in school. Yeah. And like when they were announcing the winners for the rookie category and our team's name got called up, like we were so happy. I can't even describe it. I remember running through the whole school, telling all our teachers, all our friends that like we made it, we won, and we like achieved this goal. It was incredible.
That's
yeah.
awesome.
I just want to say on that point though, I was actually watching at work on my laptop, following it online. And so, yeah, it was obviously a live broadcast of the results. We saw the frame inset of them at school hearing about it. And I was following each of the individual results on the laptop at work. So it was quite an emotional time as well.
You were at work, you were like, yeah. Everybody's like, what's going on?
Yeah.
That was awesome. And I remember it too because I was actually judging you guys. And so I was, I think, vice chair of judges then. And it was a pretty intense competition that year too. And so it was amazing to see, especially the award ceremony. It was amazing to see. I think your reactions were phenomenal. Right, just a bunch of 11-year-old, 12-year-old kids running around, really excited, jumping off their chairs, and so I think that feeling never goes away, right? That feeling of actually proving to almost all of the UAE that wow, this is a team that can actually go to the World Finals, right? And so I think that's a perfect segue into the World Finals. Now I understand that because you were in year 6, you were at that turning point or that pivoting point that you entered into high school, right? And so that meant all of your team had to go to different high schools. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Right. And so what did that look like? Because now, like Mr. Brett said, you don't have any school structure, right? You don't have any classes, no DT teacher, nobody to say, hey, let's sit down and do this, right? So what was it like preparing for the World Finals?
It was obviously, anyway, it would have been a lot harder because the World Finals is a lot more challenging. It's the concepts are more difficult to grasp. There's a lot more work that has to be put in. And without the help of a structure of a school or a teacher or a mentor, that was obviously a lot harder. So, but I think because our team was so dedicated and we had such good relationships with each other, I don't think having to meet up outside of school was that detrimental to our team flow. Obviously, it was a big challenge, and it would have been a lot easier to work inside school or inside a school-like structure. But it was definitely a challenge, but we did overcome it. So yeah.
And so I guess now the parents got a little bit more involved, huh?
That's why they overcome it. Yeah, we had to step up and support them. I work at Dubai Future Foundation, and they were very supportive in offering up meeting spaces. They saw the value in a young team representing the UAE. We have a division called Dubai Future Labs, which is a robotics and autonomous vehicle laboratory. It gave the team an opportunity to visit that and see how STEM subjects translate into real-world applications. But as parents, there was definitely a lot more demands on our time compared to nationals. I mean, we just facilitated what the kids were driving forward themselves. We got a lot of support from the Years in Schools program that gave us, the parents, the help to build that platform and get them to the stage where they were ready for the World Finals.
That's awesome. And so from your team's perspective, what did that look like now that you're meeting outside, you're going to the Dubai Futures Lab, you're getting all of this input, right? What did that look like for you? Did that ease burdens? How was that like?
So I would say it was challenging. Instead of being able to meet almost 5 days a week like you would in a school setting, we were meeting once a week. Once a week for 5 hours, I think.
Wow.
So 5 hours a week, which obviously for the World Finals isn't a lot. Maybe isn't even enough. But that just meant that we had to be very committed and we had to put in a lot of work from home. So we often had meetings with like different areas of our team. So we would have enterprise meetings. We would arrange times where everyone would be free. So it was a challenge and we had to adapt to ensure that like we remained as productive as possible, but we did overcome it. So
that's awesome. Improvise, adapt, overcome. You had something to say?
No.
Okay. So now coming to the World Finals itself, right? I think it was in Singapore.
Yeah.
So what was that feeling like as 11, 12-year-old boy going to Singapore with your friends, with your teachers, with your guides? What was it like to go there and actually experience the F1 in Schools World Finals?
I mean, I can't even describe it. It was incredible. Because it's so much more large scale than the national finals.
Right.
And when you have like the best of the best from every country all coming to one place to compete against each other, it was like insane. The energy in the air, the atmosphere was incredible. It was a learning opportunity as well, because there were so many other advanced like teams who were so good at what they did. So we were able to like learn, meet other people. We connected with so many people because it was the World Finals and it's like the largest scale F1 in schools event.
Yeah.
There was so many high profile individuals there. There was lots of people to connect and meet with. It was really great. It was incredible.
That's awesome. Also, Mr. Brett, so when you were talking about the F1 in schools World Finals experience, you mentioned that it was incredible to see such a young team, right? Almost 12 years old, 11-year-old team, right? Going up against some of the best teams in the world, mostly age 16, 17, 18, right? And so what was that like for you? What was that experience like, being able to witness your son, right? Your team, right? Being able to do that.
Well, I'll start with gratitude because I got to go to Singapore and it was amazing. But there was an immense sense of pride. One, because they were young, but the quality of the work that was put out stood up to scrutiny alongside all of these other countries. And when they're standing alongside very successful countries like Australia, UK, Germany, who are sort of continually the top of the podium, and you look at the elements of their enterprise, their portfolio, that is quite close to that quality. An immense amount of pride was amongst all the parents,
That's awesome.
seeing the kids there.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And so now, this comes back to after the World Finals. Rhys, you've had the wonderful opportunity to actually present at the National Finals, right? So tell me a little bit more about that. What is it like to be on the other side, right, with all the producers and with all the directors and with all the notes and with all the tabs and all of that? What was that like?
So last year I was a minor presenter. I did some breakaway sessions. And this year I'm actually coming back in a few weeks to take on one of the more major presenting roles, awesome. Which I'm very excited for. Right. But for me personally, I think having the experience of the competition is one thing, but being able to see things from the flip side, from the other side, from the side of producing, directing, like the minute by minute schedules, it's crazy. It's like so much work goes into this competition. Right. And you can see it comes out with some of these teams. And it's really interesting, actually. I found it really, really interesting to see like how much work goes in. It was great.
That's awesome. I can particularly remember an interview that Rhys did last year, and it was amazing. I was actually watching the live stream a few days ago, and it was interesting to see how Rhys came up with the questions. And it was really amazing to see him think on the spot, especially for such a young age. And I think that's something you were mentioning in our previous discussions, that's what F1 in schools helps you do, right? The YAS in schools program helps you sort of think on your spot, be good at problem solving, be good at creative thinking, right? So, Mr. Brett, do you see, now I think it's also important to mention that your younger son is also in Formula Ethara, right? Was a part of the team. And so what have you seen the impact of these programs? We've talked about the experience, we've talked about how it's been great, it's been beneficial, it's been incredible, but what have you seen that has impacted them for the future?
It's clear that the program is not just focused on the STEM subjects. Right. What amazed me when I first was introduced to the program was all the other different strands to it, where they were involved in public speaking, putting together these presentations, getting involved in marketing, getting involved in sponsorship outreach, over and above just the design elements. So there's it's a very broad set of experiences that they gather out of this. And where we've seen the greatest benefit is how that's translated into their schoolwork and their interaction in class. Right. We've had a number of conversations with the teachers at parent-teacher evenings where they reflect on how much better their presentation skills are, how good their oracy is. Right. And that's all come out of the work that they've done in the preparation, right from the start in Ethara through to F1 in Schools program. Another point worth mentioning is both through my youngest son Finley and Rhys being involved in 2 different programs. The other focus that they have to have is on the collaboration aspect and working together as a team. You inevitably are going to be faced with personal challenges. There's different personalities in the team. It's how you get the best out of each of those individuals and to ensure that the ultimate success of the team. And it's not something that comes naturally to a 10 or an 11-year-old. We've definitely seen that side of them has improved. Their EQ has definitely increased.
That's awesome. Yeah. And it sets them up for success too.
100%.
Right? Because as you know, you work in industries, right? You work with corporates, with professionals, and you know that it's extremely important to have EQ as much as it is important to have IQ. Right? And so that's awesome. When it comes to being the older brother, right, being the one who did it first, what have you seen, I think, in your younger brother, or just in the competition in general, that you've seen from your peers, from your colleagues, from your brother? What have you seen that has been a great impact?
So for me, it skyrocketed my skills in RSC and English. And when I heard that my brother was doing it, I was really happy because he didn't really have an idea of what he wanted to do, right? And I think that's what this competition is good for. It helps open up tons of possible career paths, which is really good. Right. So before the competition, he didn't really have an idea, like I said, but when he was selected to be in the team, he was involved in the graphic design of portfolios, that car, those fields of the aspects of the team. And now what I've noticed, and I think my dad will notice this too, when he comes home, when he talks about school, his interest in art and DT and the creative side of things, that's increased a lot. And I think that is due to having been exposed to the aspects of the Formula Ethara competition, where he had to learn how to design and effectively create designs for portfolios, cars, uniforms, stuff like that.
Wow.
I think the important point there is that kids go to school and they're learning subjects. It doesn't naturally translate for them into how that could be a future career path. This is just taking that element, taking it outside of school into almost a real world setting and saying, this is what you could possibly do.
Right.
It may not define what they're going to do, but it opens up their thinking into possible alternatives.
Yeah, and it gives them a practical understanding.
Absolutely.
That this is a possibility. And I think you're the one mentioning it, or I think both of you were mentioning it earlier, is that, even when it comes to F1, right, the real Formula One racing teams, they're not just all about racing. Right? There's finance involved, there's engineering involved, there's accounting, there's marketing, there's all kinds of aspects that every person has a set of skills, every person has a set of talents that can be used. And I think this is a practical way to actually see that in play, especially at such a young age. And so I think coming back to the benefits or to what you've experienced, right? Is there something that you think you would love to tell somebody who's about your age, maybe 13, 14, 10, 11, 9, 6 years old, right? Somebody who's out there who's thinking, wow, this sounds like a really nice program, right? This is something I would love to try, but I'm scared. But I don't know what to do. I don't have any friends that are in the program. I am new to the country. All these kinds of fears and quarrels. What would you have to tell them?
Wow, I think one of the major things that I would tell them is don't be scared, don't be anxious. I know it's hard. I know it's easy for me to say that, and it might be hard to not be anxious or worried about a competition. But the F1 in Schools program, even Formula Ethara, it helps you make friends. It improves your networking skills. So even if you don't have anybody you currently know in the competition, joining the competition will make you friends almost immediately. Right. I mean, you have to work well with people, so you don't really have a choice if you want to be friends with them or not. But it is a great competition. There is whatever you're good at, it's going to somehow be implemented into the competition. Every single subject you do at school somehow contributes to your skills when you compete in the F1 program, right? Awesome. So don't be scared. You can be nervous. Being nervous is okay. Nerves are good. Yeah. But just do it.
Just do it.
Just do it.
Yeah.
And Mr. Brett, what would you have to tell someone who's a parent, right? Who is on the outside looking in and saying, maybe this is a waste of time. Maybe this is too much for my child. Maybe my child's not cut out for it. What do you have to say for
Life's about opportunities. This is just another great opportunity. You get different types of personalities and different types of kids. Some will naturally of their own volition jump into it. Other times kids need a bit of a nudge, but over time it's been proven again and again, there's such rewarding benefits that come out of this. Even if you just do it for one session, one season, trying Formula Ethara, what's the worst that can happen? You know, you learn some new skills. Right. The best that can happen, well, you end up going to Singapore. So
Yeah,
that's awesome. And I think that's also something you mentioned is you don't have to. Right? You don't have to go to the World Finals. You can see the benefits even long before that, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's in Formula Ethara, F1 in schools, 4x4 in schools, you can see the benefits right from the get-go when you start making that team, right? When you start putting in the effort, right? So is there anything else that you would like to tell our audience, anybody who's listening, parents, teachers, students, anything?
I would say if you're a teacher, get your kids involved. It gives them skills that, translates not just in the STEM-related subjects, across all subjects. I mean, I would say my English, my drama, my speaking, my oracy, that's like incredibly improved. It's increased by a lot. And I think that has also translated across all of my subjects. Like even other skills that I'm not involved in engineering, but the fact that the competition is so, has such like a wide breadth, it covers a lot of subjects. It helps me across the board in school.
That's amazing.
From my perspective, the world is it's a changing place. The rate of change at the moment is incredible. Where possible career paths were very clear and delineated previously, it's changing all the time.
Right.
And as a parent, I think we just got to give our kids every opportunity to experience new things, find out what they're good at, what they're not good at, and this is the perfect platform to do it.
That's awesome. Yeah, and I think that's a key point to stress on is, like you said, you've got every opportunity, every skill is welcome at the Arts and Schools program, but it's also about finding what you're good at, finding what you're not good at. And this is a great, almost risk-free way of doing that, right?
100%.
You have fun. At the end of the day, you will enjoy it. You will leave changed. You will be a new person, but you'll also come out of it knowing more about yourself. Do you agree with that?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
Awesome. Well, it was a pleasure having you, Mr. Brett, here with Rhys. Rhys, I can't wait to hear you at the National Finals.
I can't wait.
Fun. But I truly enjoyed it, and I thank you for your time, right? And I hope that somebody out there listening has learned that even as a parent, I guess before we end there, Mr. Brett, is there something that has changed in you as a parent?
Absolutely. I think my perspective on parenting has, you're often rooted in your past. And when I was growing up, there was a very different way to teach children, to parent. It was a lot more directive. Right. What we're learning in the current age is that kids have got platforms through school, through programs like this that are far more structured. It takes the pressure off us as parents, and we become more guides than directors. We're there to support them and assist them rather than dictate that they have to be sitting at their desk studying maths and English. Right. So they're a lot more individual these days.
That's awesome. And so, thank you for being a guide for Rhys and Finn. But I truly appreciate your time, and I hope that those listening will learn more about not just Arts and Schools, but STEM competitions in general, and be able to take that opportunity and just do it, like he said.
Thanks for having us.
But actually dive in head first and learn more about you. Well, thank you again for this time.
Thanks for having us.
For being on the Arts and Schools podcast. Till next time, I'll see you.
Thank you.
Thanks.